In the mysterious pleasure district known as Gokurakugai, a pair of troubleshooters tries to solve supernatural events as well as the basic problem of everyday man. Is it going to be exciting or is it going to be generic? Let's find out and see as we review this cool manga, shall we? Hello and welcome to an episode of the Spiraken manga review. I'm your host Zan, saying konnichiwa, aloha, buongiorno, and what's up? Hope you're doing good. Hope you're excited for another fun-filled episode of this awesome podcast you can find at www.spiraken.com. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, and various other social media sites. Just type in S-P-I-R-A-K, and I'll guarantee you find us one way or the other. And if you're watching on YouTube, remember to like, share, subscribe, click on that bell for notification, and let's actually get to it, because if you remember from that last episode, I spun that one, that only, the Wheel of Manga, and it dictated reviewing a manga that, well, let's get to it. This manga was written by Yuto Sano and published by Shueisha, meaning it's brought over here by Viz Media. This is a Shonen Jump comic. This was released originally in Jump Comic SQ. It is a Shonen series. That original run was 2022. It's still coming out to this day with only 3 volumes, meaning there's only 47 chapters. We're going to get to that in a little bit. It is not complete. It is an adventure supernatural series that its original title was Gokurakugai, or translated into English as The Pleasure District. And what is the name of this manga that we're talking about? Well, it is Gokurakugai. Yes, kind of self-explanatory. But this is a unique story of 2 individuals in the Pleasure District of Gokuraku. It is a world where humans and beastmen live together, and so you have humans walking around, you have beastmen walking around, and there's also a bunch of mysteries going on. And in the center of this, above a restaurant, in a former pachinko parlor, is the Gokurakugai Troubleshooters. And they do anything from basic investigations to cleaning murals. Everything possible that they're hired for. Their real job's a little more interesting, but we're going to get to that in a moment. But for the most part, when we're first introduced to them, they're actually blackmailing someone that they're investigating because they've done some kind of messed up things. They were caught by their wives going to a Beastman brothel, and they're like saying, yeah, we have kind of an issue. And we're also introduced to our pair of troubleshooters. First off, we've got the boss of it all. We're talking about Ms. Tao. She is a woman in her 30s who is a gun-toting, maybe she's a sister, we're not entirely sure. And then there's Alma. He is our young chatterbox bruiser kind of idiot who loves to eat. Seems kind of familiar in some sort of ways. Why is that? We're going to get to that in a moment. But they are people who get money and they do what they can. Alma's big thing is that he's able to smell when someone's lying to them, and they work together to solve these cases, and they're constantly not having any money because no one knows that they are there. So they are living at the whims of their patrons, who are the people who own the restaurant downstairs, giving them money, and more importantly than that, their other backers who, again, we're going to get to in a bit. And as they solve cases, they decide they're going to get a new sign in the first chapter. And these troubleshooters hear about a bunch of disappearances that are occurring. It's got to be a big deal. What's going on? Well, eventually we find out the truth of what this is that the city is infested by these weird supernatural beings known as MAGA. Not to be confused with the political group. MAGAs are these weird creatures that are resurrected from corpses and eat people. And Gokurakugai, their job is actually to get rid of these evil monsters and eat them. It's kind of cool, kind of disturbing. And they end up getting hired by someone who is the scion of a syndicate whose best friend disappeared, who is a beast man. And his dad is kind of a piece of garbage who says, you shouldn't be drawing, you should be studying to become the next leader of our syndicate, but he loves to draw. They end up helping him find his friend who's being eaten by one of these things. And we also discover the other truth of what this is, that Alma is not just a food-munching, kind of BS-reading monster, but more importantly, he's actually a member of these MAGAs. He's half them. We don't know what the deal is, but he has the strength of them, and he can kick ass and fight them. And how does he do this? Well, he pulls a plug out of his chest, and suddenly a giant sword appears. Yes, this doesn't sound at all like Chainsaw Man. Not at all. And from here, it's just a procedural story of, oh, they helped this guy who's an artist out and they're looking to make a sign. What's going to happen? Well, you can guess it. They're going to make a sign. And despite the title, I know that the title for the monsters is kind of infuriating. The series is a little different. It is very unique with the premise of that they are hunting monsters in a city, but actually not really. What do I mean by this? Well, let's actually get to it, because honestly, the artwork is great in this. The artwork is really, really good in this. However, and we're going to get to that in a moment, let's be honest. This is a very overdone story trope. This is the two troubleshooters in an abandoned city or a restricted city doing stuff. And they constantly are trying to solve these mysteries. This is what this is about. And like I said, this came out in 2022 and there's 3 volumes. That's it. The first volume is only 3 chapters long. Second is 4 chapters long. And it's kind of disjointed. Now, when we find out more about what's going on with Alma, where he's the reason why they're able to fight the monsters, because he has the strength of the monsters, and his blood is used to make bullets, which Miss Tao uses. That's kind of cool. However, this has been done before several times, like I just said. Just looking at some notes I made, just to go over this. Some of the series which have troubleshooters who solve different crimes. We have Black Cat. We reviewed that in episode 128. Black Lagoon. We reviewed that back in episode 29 of the podcast. There's City Hunter, episode 102. Ryosai was one of the best troubleshooters ever. He's the guy that you write XYZ on the board in Shinjuku, and he solves crimes. Then we have Gangsta, which, enough said. Mysterious City, we have 2 guys who they take any problems possible. And then Gunsmith Cast with Riley Vincent. We reviewed that all the way back in 125 of the podcast. And then, let's say, okay, so troubleshooters is a trope. Fine. What about the mystery characters who they're working with magic and exorcists? Well, you've got Bleach, of course, and that, of course, has the sword coming out of the body. We have Chainsaw Man, chainsaws coming out of the body when pulling ripcord. We have Kakaishi, barrier masters who are exorcists coming out of the body. And then, of course, another one from Mysterious City, Kowloon generic romance. Mysterious City that is run by a bunch of mysterious individuals. Then we have the Beastmen element. Unfortunately, when I first read this, and I read the first volume, it's very disjointed, because it's like, oh, the city has beastmen, and there's the reference for the guy who's cheating on his wife with the beastmen brothel. There's Luca, the character who is the friend who disappeared. He's a cat man. He's there for probably 1 minute. Then in chapter 2, we have their boss, who is a wolf, but then that's it. There's no real evidence of this happening. This is similar to, going back to another one, Ramen Tiger and Curry Wolf. That one's the same thing, where you have animals and humans living together, but there's no real distinct method for this. It's kind of an oddity that they said they're going to kind of make this work, but not really. This is based off of a one-shot. And the one-shot actually was in that they're troubleshooters. The whole thing of he can smell their bullshit, 100% the same. The premise of that they're blackmailing someone who they're investigating, 100% the same. But then he brings up mermaids, and then we get into the fact that there is a syndicate that is kidnapping mermaids and selling them. And there's this whole other element where the big villain is a tiger man. And that's really cool and a great concept. And when they get into that, it's really different. It's, okay, you have this world where humans and monsters exist, and they kind of are the intermediaries. Do they get into what the deal with Alma is? Not really, but it's more just, oh, he just is able to fight them. Because some reason they don't really explain. They seem to have kept that concept. They went to, okay, we're going to do this mystical series with these creatures who are known as Maga. Because, whatever. They wanted to go with the mystery route, which gets into some cool elements when we have a bunch of disappearances, and that's the big plot of the series. But then you still have this Beastman element that doesn't fit. It's kind of like they want to have their cake and eat it too, and it just doesn't really fit well. And the thing is that this is actually one of the major series in Shonen Jump right now. And you can see, like, the production quality isn't bad for the manga. It looks good. The art style is decent, especially when you have the elements of the monsters themselves. The monsters look really badass. They're creepy looking, they're different. And then when you get to some of the Beastman creatures, it looks really cool. But it just doesn't hold. It doesn't hold. I've read this so many other times, and it's been so much well executed in other series. Like I just mentioned 6 of them. There are probably 15 more I didn't even mention. And that is a problem. I mean, you have these vicious monsters, you have the element of that, and it could be really cool. But it just comes across as lazy and hackneyed, and I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I was going back and forth about it. There's some really great elements in it, then there's some really just, this has been done better. So for that reason, I'm going to have to give this our middle-of-the-ground rating of a gift from your crazy Aunt Muriel. In the end, it's okay, but let's be honest, it's kind of forgettable. Because it's been done before, and it's been done so much better. And the worst thing is that this is a Shonen Jump title that it's been 2 years, and they have 3 volumes. That's it. That's saying a lot, because Shonen Jump is a weekly magazine. Even if it's Jump Comics SQ, that should have been more than that. There should be more chapters than what they're doing. It seems like this was we're going to throw this in the back, and that's what's going to be. It's going to be okay, and then once our big ones are gone, we're going to try to put this in. But you don't establish it further. Now, I recently had well, we're going to get into that in a moment. But I was recently talking to someone about this, and it's like there's nothing new coming out, and this is this is not experimental. It's just kind of like, let's see what sticks. I mean, how is it that something like this survives, but Candy Flurry, which I actually thought was a cool concept, that gets canceled after 12 chapters? I don't get it. But if you've read Gokurakugai and you like it, let me know. Email me, zanspiraken.com, tweet me at Spiraken, let me know your thoughts on if it's worth reading or not. And also, here's the random question of the week. It's going to be, is this manga series a contender for the big 3? Because now the big 3, we have 2 big holes. We've got no more My Hero Academia and no more Jujutsu Kaisen. So, and Demon Slayer is gone. So, do you think this is going to be a contender? I honestly don't think so, but let me know. Email me, zanspiraken.com, or tweet me at Spiraken. And with that in mind, let's actually get to the next part, which is going to be the manga releases for the week. And we've got some fun ones and some horrible ones. So for the big ones for the mangas for this week, the biggest one, the stuff that came out this week are going to include, well, we've got Alpi, the Soul Sender, Volume 4. Then we've got one which I was not in my radar at all, but I was super excited about it. We're talking about The Apothecary Diaries Light Novel 2. And this is covering the second core, the second season of the series. This is covering everything dealing with her dad, and it looks great. The story looks amazing. Then we have Bakemonogatari Volume 22, Blue Exorcist Volume 29, Boruto Naruto Next Generation Volume 20, Chronicles of an Aristocrat Reborn in Another World Volume 10, Classrooms of the Elite Year 2 Volume 9, this is a light novel, Crossplay Love Otaku Punk Volume 9, Demons of the Shadow Realm Volume 5, The Disabled Tyrant's Beloved Pet Fish Volume 2 of the novel, The Elusive Samurai Volume 12. The series is starting to come to an end, and this series, well, it's been really cool, and the anime they did a great job with. Then we have The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity Volume 2, In the Name of the Mermaid Princess. This is going to be Volume 3. Kana of the Great Sea Snow Volume 2. Kamino Jihen Volume 12. The Knight Captain is the New Princess to Be Volume 4. The Lady and Her Butler Volume 1. Life with an Ordinary Guy Who Reincarnated into a Total Fantasy Knockout Volume 4. Might As Well Cheat, I Got Transported to Another World Where I Can Live My Wildest Dreams, the manga Volume 8. The Most Notorious Talkers Run the World's Greatest Clan, Volume 7. My Lovesick Life as a 90s Otaku, Volume 4. My Special One, Volume 7. Neighborhood Story, Volume 3. And this is the final one of the series because, as I said before, there's only a certain amount of chapters, so if you like the series, definitely worth checking out. Opposites Attract, a story about two people who fall in love with their dogs, or because they're dogs they fall in love. Rainbow Days Volume 11. Reincarnated as a Dragon Hatchling, the novel Volume 7. She's the Strongest Bride, but I'm Stronger in Night Battles, a harem chronicle of advancing through cunning tactics. You can guess what this one is about. This one's going to be a manga. Spy Family Volume 12. Really excited to get this one. That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, Omnibus 3. That's Volume 7, 8, and 9 of the manga series. Tokyo Revengers, A Letter from Keisuke Baji, Volume 1. This is a one-shot light novel series that looks really cool. Tying the Knots with the Amagami Sisters, Volume 6. Windbreakers, Volume 7. World's End Harem, Fantasia, Volume 12. Yokohama Kadaishi Kiko, Volume 5. I didn't realize there was a fifth one that came out in this series. I thought 4 was the last one, but apparently there was a fifth one. I was wrong, and I admit I'm wrong. But this one is definitely one of those ones I'm definitely picking up. And then last but not least for this week, we had You and I Are Polar Opposites, Volume 2. So which are the ones you're most excited about? Let me know. Email me, zanspiraken.com, or tweet me at Spiraken. Let me know which mangas you're most excited about. For me personally, I am most excited for Apothecary Diaries Light Novel Volume 2, In the Name of the Mermaid Volume 3, The Lady and the Butler Volume 1, Opposites Attract Volume 1, and She's the Strongest Bride Volume 1, because each of these are something a little bit different. I mean, let's be honest. I was going to put Spy Family on there, but the one about Opposites Attract actually looks really fun. So we'll see how that goes. But Spy Family 12 is definitely one of those ones I wanted on there. But that's my thoughts on those. So anyway, I'd like to thank each and every one of you who checked out this podcast. And every email I get, every comment I get gives me more incentive to keep doing this podcast. And I love doing this. So thank you so much. So I'm still getting better. Officially I've missed Otakon this week. So yeah, that happened. And yeah. So we're going to see how this goes. I'm going to be releasing my panels online, starting off with the panel for manga recommendations for the last 30 years. And we're going to be releasing that. Should be pretty good. You can check that out on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spiraken. I'm going to be releasing a list at our website, www.spiraken.com. Let me know your thoughts. I'm really excited to do this one. I'm also going to be releasing our panel about marriages, which is Happily Ever After, Wedded Bliss and Anime Manga. That one I'm going to be doing with Greta. And then, last but not least, we're going to try to do horror and anime manga and release it as a virtual panel. The only problem with that one, something I'm going to say, is that whenever I do a horror panel on YouTube, it gets taken down immediately because the videos for each of the clips, the copyright stricken. So if you don't see the horror one, you will see the other ones. And I have a couple other ones that I was going to do that I didn't get to release. So I'll be releasing those as well. But I digress. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this episode. I love doing this. I'm going to keep doing this so an old man has to read manga with thick glasses and large print. But let's get to the part that you have all been waiting for, the most popular part of this podcast. And what are we talking about? We're talking about that one, that only. The Wheel of Manga! Yes, friends, the Wheel of Manga, except no substitute. Now, what is the Wheel of Manga? The Wheel of Manga is a Wheel of Fortune with 10 slots on it. What I've done is I've assigned a manga title to each of the 10 slots. So we're going to spin the wheel. Whatever number it lands on, that's the manga we're going to review in the next episode of the Spiraken Manga Review, episode 569. 569, can you believe it? So we're going to spin it and see what we're going to review. We've got tons of great things on here. We've got some violence, we've got some action, we've got a little bit of romance, and we even have something which is about a Yakuza guy who's obsessed with K-pop. We're going to find out what we're going to review. So let's spin. That's kind of funny. I didn't expect that one to come up. I actually thought it was going to be something else. But number 7. So in the next episode, I'm going to be reviewing Yakuza Bias, the story of a Yakuza boss who's obsessed with K-pop. Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? Well, we're going to have to wait and find out. But as usual, I am your host, Zan. I'm Gonzville. Catch you guys next time, and keep reading manga. See you later.